Welcome to the Overcoming Mediocrity podcast, where today's top influencers and entrepreneurs on the rise share empowering stories and ninja tips to become the fuel that ignites a positive change in your life. Our guests don't simply coast through life. They don't let difficult situations stop them. They set big goals, keep their eyes on the prize, and they're joining us today to share insider secrets you can use right now to step into your power and live your purpose. Now, here's your host, Christy Ruffino.
Our guest today is Erin Marcus. Erin is an award-winning business owner, international speaker, author, and consultant who has been creating business success for more than 20 years. Her vast corporate experience, combined with her MBA, business savvy, and street smart upbringing, have her working with her clients at the intersection of where magnetic marketing and actionable strategy meet. She empowers her clients to bust through obstacles and maintain the motivation to take quantum leaps forward. She has spoken to top organizations such as Highland Capital Brokerage, Thrivent Financial, Women's Council of Realtors, and U.S. Bank, just to name a few. Erin is also the host of Ready Yet podcast, sharing stories of success and inspiration, all focused on the fact that you'll never do what it takes until you become the person it takes to do it. When not working, Erin is often volunteering at the Fox Valley Wildlife Rescue or taking care of her own small menagerie of animals. She is also a fitness enthusiast, utilizing the ability to get uncomfortable and push for more in the gym to do the same in her business. Now let's get on with the show so you can meet Erin. Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Overcoming Mediocrity podcast. I am very excited for you to meet my guest today. She is Erin Marcus. We have known each other for quite a long time. We actually met at an event in another state. Through just meeting other people at the event, we realized we lived fairly close to each other. And throughout the years, I think you've come to some of my events and I've come to some of your events, and we've just really been supporting each other in different ways. So welcome to the show, Erin. I am so glad that you're with us today.
Thank you so much. I am excited to be here. I can't decide if we met in Orlando or Vegas. Could have been either.
I don't know. Or Phoenix. I don't know.
Or Phoenix.
Yeah.
All the places we haven't gotten to go to in a year.
I know. Well, soon, hopefully very soon.
Soon.
But yeah, you know what? That's okay. We pivoted and we're doing things online. So it still is great. But so I would love to basically have our audience get to know a little bit about you, who Erin is, and how you kind of got to where you are right now. What is your journey? What is Erin's story?
Erin's story. So this is funny because right now I am the founder and CEO of Conquer Your Business, right? I help entrepreneurs save time, make more money, and build a life they're proud of. And truth be told, I've been doing this for over 20 years, except I didn't realize it. Right? I kind of didn't realize it. I have a corporate background. My fancy title back in the day when I was fancy, Senior Vice President of Business Development for the largest long-term care insurance wholesaler in the country, which is a mouthful and doesn't fit on a business card. But basically what I did was I helped put together relationships between banks, broker-dealers, wirehouses, financial planning groups, and the insurance carriers that offer long-term care insurance. And the company that I was at, we were the middleman. So I would help put these relationships together, but then I would go to the annual meetings and I would hold all these meetings where I would teach the financial planners why long-term care insurance was so important, how to talk to their clients about it, how they could build their business with it, and how our company could help them do that, which is basically helping entrepreneurs save time and make more money, right? But because it was long-term care insurance, which is a really difficult product to sell, I always laugh and said, basically, I worked with financial planners about a product they hated talking about to people who didn't want to talk about it. So yay me, brilliant, right? So I did that for a long time. And when I was ready to go out on my own, I stayed in that market with seniors. because I knew that market. I knew the players in that. I'm like, okay, I have a marketing background. I get it. Stick with what you know. And I started a franchise. I really wasn't prepared leaving corporate to like do my own thing. So I took I jumped off half a cliff and bought a franchise. But it was a family, it was all working with families with aging parents. So what happened though is because of my business background, I got my franchise to about the top 10 out of 200 offices in like 18 months. And so I
Wow.
became right. So, because I knew how to grow a business. Then the franchisor had me in a position where I was training new franchise owners. So when they would buy their franchise, they'd come to Chicago and I would show them how to do this and how to build their business. And I was speaking at the conferences and mentoring new franchise owners. So basically, here I was in that same situation where I'm helping entrepreneurs save time and make more money.
But yet you were building somebody else's business.
But and I had a franchise. So mine was still doing great. I still had mine. I was doing this while I had my franchise. So I had like 15 part-time employees. I mean, it was absolute chaos. It's a lot of moving parts in that business. I mean,
I think that's when I met you, is that you were still in the middle of all that.
I
Yeah.
was absolutely, absolutely. And very rewarding. I mean, oh my gosh, not just building the business, because I love that side of it, but also the clients that we helped. But what I started to realize was the thing that I loved even more than helping my client was when one of the franchises that I had mentored got really, really, really good. And it became increasingly clear that what I really know how to do is build businesses. And I know how to teach other people how to do it. So after horrible amounts of resistance on my part, right? Because isn't that the way it always goes?
Yes. Of
And
course.
after, it took me forever because even when I had that business, I was networking a lot. And so the chambers I was part of would be like, oh, can you present not on families with aging parents? They wanted me to present on how I was growing my business. And it just, like I said, it became increasingly clear that it's something I know how to do. And it's something I really, really, really enjoy doing it. So I took 2018 was what I call Erin's year of failure. It was horrible, but I learned so, so much because in that year was when I took everything I knew about growing a business, but figured out how to start it from scratch. Not just the part where the franchise already exists or the concept already exists, but on top of the stuff I knew what to do with there, taking a step even further back and now adding in the piece of starting from scratch. And I'm happy to say I've now, I crossed the 6-figure mark in, I don't know, it took me a little more than 12 months.
Wow. That's great.
Right. So, and, I've done that twice now with small businesses, reinforcing the fact that, I kind of know how to do this thing. And I think one of the reasons I do well and what I love showing other people how to do is, in my opinion, the foundation to growing your business. It starts with marketing. It starts with marketing. Don't get me wrong. You got to be good at your client fulfillment. You got to have your back office in order, and you have to be good at your sales conversations. But if you can't get your marketing in place, no one knows you exist anyway.
Yeah. You're the best kept secret. That's not going to help anybody.
No, and that's really where I start with people, helping them figure out. And it's so much fun for me. I mean, helping them figure out what it is they're doing, who it is they're doing it to, where are these people, how do we find them, and putting it together like a puzzle. And then the other side that, and I don't know where this comes from, but seriously, it's like, what do they say? When it's your genius zone, it's like you just know how to do it. And I think it's the background with the long-term care insurance, because that was such a complicated product. But the other piece of the puzzle that I love doing is when someone breaking down how to accomplish something into small enough pieces that people are able to actually go do it.
Right.
Helping people break through that overwhelm. I laugh. I call it street level mindset.
Oh.
Because it's not the puppies, rainbows, and unicorns kind. I mean, I want you to be happy. Don't get me wrong. I love myself a puppy. But the outcome of being happy is not the goal. what and I call street level business mindset is, what do I need to do to get out of my own way to do all the things that I said I wanted to do? And of course, you're going to end up happier if you can do that.
Uh-huh. Well, I like that because it's better to be, I feel better to be street smart than book smart.
Right. I know.
You've been able to kind of put together this system that is going to work for somebody at the ground level of building their business from scratch, which is
Building
great.
from scratch, or even more fun, the folks that have got their ball rolling because they're out there doing the work, but now they've realized if they really want to scale, you need the strategy behind it.
Right.
So yes, the beginners, absolutely. But I love working with the people who they've got it, they're doing it, they've proved to themselves they can do something.
Yep.
But especially because, we all do our own story, right? My story as well, coming out of corporate, not realizing that everything I learned that made me a really, really successful employee killed me as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth?
Brutal.
So we learned that's the only way we learn is by going out and falling down, right? Fail
down.
forward.
And if I can help one person fall down one fewer times, hey, right, my work here is done.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, I mean, again, when we met, you were knee deep in the throes of your franchise and helping, and you were speaking all over, and you were like all over the place with what you do. Great things. I mean, you were really serving your clients, but you knew that there was something different. Like you were created for something different. And I'm so happy that you found your purpose and you're out there pursuing it, because now that's when the real magic happens. You're in your genius zone, and then the attraction marketing actually comes into play, because now people are seeing you living your potential and they're like, well, I want some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's so much truth to that. And that's something they don't really teach you.
No.
They don't really teach you, like, that it all can be easier. It doesn't, there's one of the things that I'm embracing this year is, hey, we're from the Midwest. We have this nice, strong work ethic. And that's great because you have to do the work. I don't like all these, work 2 hours a day, make $1 million, press this easy button. That's all. It doesn't work. That's not true.
Day. Yeah.
Right. That's not true. But it doesn't have to be a struggle. It doesn't have to be a struggle. And so helping me break my own Midwest mindset that hard work equals struggle, my new motto that I am embracing this year is hard work equals big effort, not big struggle.
Oh, okay. Love that.
Like doing the bigger things, as in putting myself out there, doing the thing before you're ready to do the thing, not holding yourself back, embracing authentic, embrace, how big I am on this, embracing your authentic self in bigger and bigger ways. So hard work, I'm redefining hard work, and I am making it mean big effort, not big struggle.
Got it. So doing the big things, the things that really make an impact.
Yeah.
Right? Things that really matter. And it's hard. It's scary.
It's scary. It's not hard. It's very scary.
Well, it's hard to make that decision to do it. But I've recognized too, it's the things that we think are hard are actually easier. And then especially if you're doing what you're designed to do, it's almost like you're not working, right? It's just easy. Right. It's effortless. And if we keep doing the things that are hard because we feel that that's what we got to do, we got to work hard. Right. Work hard to make it work, but no.
Well, and so how many times, I love that you're saying that, because this is something I figured out on the treadmill, because evidently I have to be completely deprived of oxygen before I could have a really good thought. Because, I got one of those monkey brains that just never stop. But if I'm on the treadmill long enough and I'm running out of oxygen, finally the good ideas can come through. So I have some hip problems, right? And I'm running on the treadmill, which is no small feat in and of itself. And it occurred to me that I was all proud of myself. I was all proud of myself because I could run on the treadmill, even though I had these terrible problems. Like, overcoming the terrible problem is the badge of honor. right?
Yep.
But here's the problem with that thinking that came to me once I ran out of oxygen. Where am I creating a problem in order to feel proud of myself? Where am I creating a problem? Because I identify as somebody, I'm all proud of myself.
Yeah.
That I'm someone who can overcome difficult situations. I'm the one who can succeed when there's a problem. Yay me, yay me. Well, the downside to that was, wait a minute. Why can't I let it just be easy?
Oh, right.
Why can't I
It's like a
just let
mindset
something be
thing,
easy?
right?
Yes. And where am I creating a problem that doesn't have to be as hard as it was, just in order to feel proud of the fact I got past it,
Yeah.
and stopping something from being as easy as it might have been able to be?
Wow. Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, that's a great revelation. Well, I'm
Oxygen deprived rebels.
well, you know
And
what?
I can
Thank you
package that.
because I don't have to run on the treadmill to learn that lesson now, Erin. Thank you very much.
I've got to figure out how to package that without the physical pain involved.
Oh my gosh. Well, this has been good so far. I would like for you to hang on one moment. I want to take a quick commercial break and then I want to come back because I know you have some great things to share with our audience today.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're listening to the Overcoming Mediocrity podcast, where you learn to step into your power and live your purpose. Now back to the show with your host, Christy Ruffino.
Well, welcome back. Thanks, Erin, for joining us for the second half of our show. And I want to transition to marketing, if that's okay, because I know for me, this has been a long, hard lesson learned. I spent so much time. Let me backtrack a little bit with my women's organization. We really dived in deep with Facebook, and I created a page for every one of my chapters and groups. And I was for a while spending 2 hours every day on social media with all this activity, and I started to think, well, what is the ROI? So I know there are different kind of strategies with your social media marketing efforts, and whether it's a short term, you just mentioned in our commercial, I thought this was brilliant, a short term active strategy or a long term passive strategy. Break those down for us, because I really want our audience to be able to do things that are actually going to get them an ROI.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So here's the way that I look at marketing. I like to have 3 marketing things going on at once. Now, if you're new, you don't launch them all 3 at once. Get good at one, add the second one, add the third one. But I like to have like 3 solid marketing strategies going on when I'm building my business. The mistake that I see so many people make is they pick what I've called a long-term passive marketing strategy to be their key strategy. So what you were talking about, posting on Facebook is a long-term passive strategy. Mm-hmm. It's build it and hope they come. And there's no hope. They don't come. There's so much noise out there. And I know that, no, they don't. And that's an older business for you. So my God, can you imagine trying to do that now?
Right.
Breaking through the noise now, especially this year when we've all been home for a freaking year and we have no other way to talk to each other. So the problem with posting here's the thing. I'm not saying don't do it. You 100% need to have a social media presence, because it's how other people go to figure out if you're a real live boy. You know what I mean? Do you actually exist? And if you have nothing out there, they're going to wonder what's wrong with you. It just is what it is. But you have to remember that Facebook's a business. It's a business. It makes, I almost swore on your podcast, it makes a metric ton of money, right? It makes a ton of money. It's somebody's business. And he's not going to give you business unless you give him business, right?
Right.
He ain't going to give you money if you don't give him money. It's business. So while you certainly can build an organic following, This is a long term game. Unless you're willing to pay for the ads and the funnels and the process involved in making it an active strategy, this is a long-term passive strategy. And I will tell you that paying to make it a short-term active strategy is really, really expensive, because you have to figure out, it takes a long time to get your messaging right, get your imaging right, getting the right stuff out there that triggers the response you want. What I highly, highly recommend, now here's the thing, I have built 2 businesses to the 6-figure mark in slightly over 12 months. So I've done this twice myself. I've taught tons of people how to do it through networking and speaking as my 2 short-term active strategies. So what does this mean? It means that 1, active, I'm in control of the process. My whole tagline is be in charge, take action, get results. It's not sit back, post pretty pictures and hope they come, and I get a little sarcastic about it, but
I love that.
You know how bad I am. Yeah. So it's be in charge. What situation can I be in charge in? Well, let's see. I can be in charge when I'm speaking because number 1, it's an instant credential. And I get it. A lot of people are nervous. I get it. You don't have to start talking on stage to 1,000 people. You can do a lunch and learn at your networking group with 20 people who you're already friends with. That's fine. But it's an instant credential. You're in charge of your content. You're in charge of what message is out there so that it can lead to the next step in your client journey. So that could lead to the next step in your client journey. It's active. You get to pick, you get to write everybody's name down on Zoom instead of asking for their card, and you get to reach out to them and ask to have a conversation. Whether you're networking or speaking, that you should be doing that in both cases. It's active. It can turn into an instant client, as opposed to only doing social media, or if social media is your primary. Now, here's the beauty of how this all comes together. If you are networking and or speaking, and then you underlay a regular social media presence, you exponentially grow all of it. You leverage it, because if you're only speaking and networking, you only get to talk to those people during your speaking engagement or during your networking event, right? And if you're posting on social media hoping that they come, you don't have anybody yet to come. You don't know anybody yet. But when you join those 2 things and you meet people while you're networking and you meet people while you're speaking, and then you re-engage with them on social media, now you have exponentially increased all 3 efforts.
Love that. Love that. I've been really good with the networking piece. It's the speaking part that I'm dragging my feet on, but I've seen it over and over again where people like you, I know you get out and you speak to, I know you actually, we were connected a little over a year ago because you were speaking at a local event, and I'm like, oh, I'm just going to go to support Erin. And you did a great talk, and you like converted how many people in the room. And I'm like,
wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I know.
And here's the thing. You don't have to be perfect at that.
Right.
You have to be authentic at it. You don't have to be perfect at it. I think one of the things that stops us, and this goes back to my street level mindset concept, we stop ourselves because we think we have to be perfect at it. We look at the big fancy speakers and we think we have to be them. And you don't. You just have to be authentic at it for that type of response.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So if we have people in the audience right now that want to get out and use speaking and networking as their active marketing strategy, what would be the first step that they would take?
The first step, know who you want to talk to, please.
Yes.
Please.
Because you can't help everybody.
Can't help every
conversation over and over again with so many of my clients. Can't help everybody.
Can't help everybody. And hopefully you've kind of realized, even just through the conversation that we're having, for example, who it is that I help.
Yes.
I help people who are ready to leverage up their business using strategy. It's been pretty obvious in our conversation because I know who I want to talk to. So that's just how I talk all the time, because it's always in the back of my mind. That's who I'm talking about. That's where my experience is.
Yes.
So you want to have a client journey laid out. Who is it that you want to talk to? And this is my big one. I got one of the biggest compliments I've ever gotten was during my MBA. It was the communications instructor who said, I love how you communicate with intention. And I've always grabbed that word and really love that concept. Communicate with intent. One of the biggest mistakes I see is that, oh, by the way, the intention of every single time you communicate is to have the next opportunity to communicate.
Yep.
That's it. And you watch people sweat over their 30-second introduction. And it's because they're trying to sell somebody a $6,000 program at their 30-second introduction. And you've never, it's like, here, have my baby. I haven't even taken you out on a date yet. And it doesn't work. You have to, the intention is just one more communication. So my intention from a presentation, if I'm going to speak, if you're out there speaking, I highly recommend a no barrier to entry additional way to talk to you. If you're newer in your business, that's just a conversation. It's very, very nice and easy for the intention of your talk to become have a conversation with me. And if you're more advanced in your business, then maybe there's a couple more steps. So maybe it's come to a free webinar, or maybe it's come to a $97 workshop. So that now there's another chance of engagement, another chance of know, like, and trust, another chance for you to showcase your wares, show your genius zone, so that people can self-select more and more appropriately. And the other thing about this model is it inherently weeds out the people who aren't for you.
It's a good qualifier.
It's a great qualifier, because the people who don't like my direct approach, my take action approach, my be in charge, personal responsibility approach, they don't reach out to me.
Yeah.
Which is fine. There's another person out there for them.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So we're going to get out, we're going to speak, we're going to know our audience. We're going to have some sort of next step that will be with the intention of just continuing the conversation. Yeah. Right.
It doesn't have to be more complicated than that.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't have to be complicated. And I promise, the hardest part about it is getting yourself to do it.
Yeah.
And I also promise you're making it scarier than it is.
Right. Yeah. Well, don't we always, right? We
right?
make the things that we should be doing tend to be our biggest obstacle at the moment. And then once we get through it, we're like, what did I drag my feet for so long?
Exactly. Absolutely.
So do you have a goal on how many talks you do in any given week or any given month?
I do. So last year, my goal was 20 and I got 21.
These were in-person meetings or virtual meetings?
Virtual, because we had to be virtual, but I consider, I think the parameters I put was
21 already, isn't it?
Oh my God. But the parameters I put in place, SMART goals has to be specific, measurable, timely, was 20 on other people's stages of at least 10 people each.
Okay, great. And that's doable. Right. So for people to be overwhelmed and think I need to go out and speak 3 times a week. No. If we back up our, formula on how many clients we want, and we kind of figure out from that perspective,
And one of the things to think about speaking, and here's where this is a reciprocal conversation, reciprocal relationship, because most people, most entrepreneurs, the place they're going to start speaking is their networking groups. That's really where they're going to start. So what I did is I went out and sponsored. I'm involved in a couple different nationwide networking groups. I went out and sponsored an event that, say, Phoenix was holding, knowing that I wanted to speak there. Mm-hmm. Or even in places where I was booked to speak in September, I sponsored their place in July. Because what it did for me in a virtual world is it made up for the fact that I'm not there in person, and so I can't share the energy. I got to know them a little better. And it also showed the meeting planner that I consider this a reciprocal relationship. I don't want to come in, pitch to your audience, and take off with my dollars. That's not my intention. I treat speaking and networking almost the exact same way.
So that's a good point, because I know when I first kind of got into the whole world that we're in now, out of my networking world, the whole speaker sponsorships was kind of foreign to me. And then I had a big event that was a multi-speaker event, and I had like 300 women in the room.
I know, I was there.
I know, but I was able to, secure speakers that were speaker sponsors. Yeah. And the thought never even occurred to me before then, but yeah, if I have an audience, a captive audience that's there to hear me talk, and I'm able to really just provide them so much value in my speech, and then give them a free offer that would possibly turn them into a paying client down the road, why not? And I know one of the speakers that I had at that event, she has shared that not only did that launch her coaching business, but she's made, hundreds of thousands of dollars since.
Exactly. And you don't, when I talk
a little speaker sponsorship.
Right. I mean, I know a woman who launched her business same way. Yeah. She was asked she's a blogger, and she was invited to speak at a networking event about blogging. And so many people asked her so many questions that she decided to open a freelance writing business. And she works constantly for clients.
Wow. Yeah.
So she didn't even go in there to launch a business. She went in there to talk about blogging to people she already knew. And so, and she was paying attention.
Right.
Oh my gosh, there's a need in this marketplace that I know how to do.
Right. Wow. Wow. Well, you definitely have me thinking about a lot of things, Erin. I want to thank you for joining me. If the audience wants to get a hold of you, please share. What do you have? Like, I know you have a website and you've got Facebook presence, and let us know. And of course, all of the links will be in the show notes below, but explain to the audience how they can connect with you and how maybe they can have a conversation with you.
It's just chatting. So the easiest way, Erin@conqueryourbusiness.com. If you want to just shoot me an email. Like I say, I'm not hiding. I'm on LinkedIn, Erin Marcus. I'm on Facebook, Erin Marcus, or Erin Marcus Conquer Your Business. The website's conqueryourbusiness.com. There goes that marketing, keep it simple, keep it straightforward, keep it consistent. But I would absolutely love to have a conversation with anyone who's stuck and just needs an idea.
Yeah. Great. All right, Erin. Well, thanks again. And this has been so much fun. I really appreciate you. I'm super excited to have you as kind of one of my business mentors and friends out there in the world. Absolutely. And just go have a great rest of the day.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Overcoming Mediocrity podcast, where we believe that everyone can have the business and life of their dreams once they've learned the art of mastering their story. Mastering our stories is the key to everything we want in life. Our stories can either hold us back or they can propel us to new heights. We can choose. You can choose. Choose to overcome mediocrity with us. Let's achieve greatness together. To learn more, visit www.overcomingmediocrity.org. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast.